For nearly 2 decades, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were Hollywood's favorite love story, two Australians who had conquered fame, addiction, and distance to build a seemingly unbreakable marriage. To the world, they were living proof that real love could survive the glare of the spotlight. Every photo, every red carpet smile, every anniversary post told the same tale, a couple untouched by chaos. Still madly in love after all these years. But perfection, especially in Hollywood, is almost always an illusion. Behind the scenes, the couple's once effortless bond had begun to show hairline fractures. The public saw two stars holding hands. Insiders saw two people living on borrowed time. For years, they had relied on devotion to bridge the distance between them, her on movie sets across continents, him on stages across America. But by early 2025, something in the rhythm broke. Then came the quiet detonator, Russell Crowe. A longtime friend to both, Crowe had watched their love evolve from sparks to stability to silence. His alleged decision to break Hollywood's unwritten rule of discretion, to finally tell the truth about what really happened, would turn the couple's graceful separation into one of the industry's most whispered scandals. According to those close to him, Crowe claimed that Nicole hadn't simply drifted apart from Keith. As tabloids insisted, she had warned him. There had been a conversation that changed everything, one that ended not with shouting, but with heartbreak. She didn't storm out, Crowe reportedly said. She gave him a chance to change. He didn't take it. Some sources believed it was a physical betrayal. Others said it was emotional, a friendship that crossed boundaries. Messages that should have been shared. A growing secrecy Keith justified as privacy. But to Nicole, honesty was non-negotiable. After nearly 20 years of forgiveness and patience, her trust was the last sacred thing she had left to give. By the time she confronted him, it wasn't anger she felt, it was exhaustion. "You've built a wall between us," she reportedly told him, "and I can't be the only one tearing it down." He promised to do better. She waited. He didn't. And that, insiders say, was the end. 5 weeks later, they would announce their divorce, calm, respectful, and quiet. But according to Crowe, it was not serenity, it was surrender. Russell Crowe's alleged decision to speak out was not impulsive, it was born of frustration. To him, the media's portrayal of the divorce as peaceful was both dishonest and unfair. Nicole wasn't cold, he reportedly told a close friend. She was betrayed. She stayed long after love had become survival. Crowe, who had known Nicole since her early career in Sydney, allegedly confided that the marriage had been unraveling for months before it collapsed. Keith was gone half the year. He said, "The tours, the stress, the people around him, it creates temptation, isolation, and distance." According to insiders, Crowe noticed early, warning signs, when Keith became increasingly defensive and private. When Nicole asked gentle questions about tour life, he'd grow distant or dismissive. Yet, in public, his affection only grew louder, dramatic gestures, heartfelt speeches, romantic tributes on stage. Public overcompensation, a psychologist later explained, the louder the love declaration, the deeper the underlying guilt. It was this disconnect between the love the world saw and the loneliness Nicole felt that broke her spirit. On June 26, 2025, the couple posted heartfelt messages celebrating their 19th wedding anniversary. Nicole shared a photograph of them at sunset. Captioned, 19 years, 2 hearts, 1 life. Keith replied publicly with, "Forever my love." Fans swooned. But according to leaked accounts, just 10 days later, Nicole discovered something that confirmed her suspicions, perhaps a message. Perhaps a conversation that had been erased one too many times. She confronted him again, calm but resolute. "You've had every chance," she said softly. "Now I need to take mine." On August 1, Keith signed the divorce and custody papers without objection. Nicole was granted primary custody, 306 days per year, while Keith retained 59. To the tabloids, the details looked procedural. To those who knew, they were an epitaph. She didn't want revenge, one of Nicole's confidants told reporters later. She just wanted peace. Crowe's alleged revelation reframed everything. Nicole was no longer the distant, career-obsessed wife portrayed in entertainment magazines. She was a woman who had fought for her marriage until the weight of silence became unbearable. Keith, once the adored romantic, was suddenly cast as the man who mistook comfort for love and lost both. He thought she'd always stay. Crowe allegedly said. He didn't realize that even the kindest hearts eventually close their doors. The world began to see what had always been hidden, that sometimes the real heartbreak isn't explosive. It's quiet. It's slow. It's the sound of a door closing after years of whispered warnings no one wanted to hear. When the divorce went public, the tone was almost poetic: mutual respect, enduring love, focus on family. It was a masterclass in restraint. No blame, no scandal, no bitterness, just two professionals performing the final act of their love story with dignity. But inside the industry, everyone knew the truth. The silence wasn't serenity. It was self-defense. Nicole Kidman, ever the consummate professional, refused to break character. She traveled to Paris for her next film project, stepping out in calm confidence, her face radiant yet unmistakably thinner. On set, she was quiet but kind, focusing on work and her daughters. A friend said, "She didn't cry, she exhaled." Keith Urban, meanwhile, retreated to Nashville, pouring his turmoil into music. His songs shifted, darker, slower, more confessional. During one show, before performing The Hard Way, he paused and said softly, "Sometimes you don't lose someone all at once. You lose them one day at a time." It was the first and only public acknowledgement of his heartbreak. Despite the rumors, neither Nicole nor Keith ever commented on Crowe's alleged revelation. Their silence became part of the legend, the final mystery in a story the public thought it already knew. Crowe, too, vanished from the conversation, leaving behind only the echo of one line that had changed everything. "She gave him one last chance. He didn't take it." That single sentence transformed the entire narrative. What the world once saw as a peaceful farewell now read as a quiet tragedy, not of betrayal, but of unheard warnings and unhealed distance. Nicole was no longer the woman who walked away, she was the woman who waited too long. Keith was no longer the romantic hero, he was the man who loved loudly but listened too late. Months later, during a rare interview, Nicole was asked if she still believed in love. She smiled, the kind of smile that holds both memory and mercy, and answered, "Of course I do, but sometimes love ends, and that's okay. What matters is that it was real while it lasted." Keith, too, found his way back to quiet acceptance. In one of his later performances, as he sang, "Making Memories of Us," his voice broke on the final line. Because in the end, that's what their story had become, not a scandal, not a failure, but a reminder that even the brightest stars eventually dim. That sometimes the most beautiful love stories don't end with betrayal, but with two people learning that forgiveness and forever are not always the same thing. The fairy tale had ended, but the truth, messy, human, and heartbreaking, would echo long after the lights went down.